So if I look a little bit crazy today, I don't know. I tried. Look at first of all, hello
Here she
everybody.
goes.
But like, look at Ashley. Look at this beautiful, wonderful, gorgeous being that we call woman, and that this specific woman is called Ashley, and she's just a vision. Like when she hopped on, there was a whole story before we hopped on today, which I will share in a sec. But like when we hopped on and I saw her and she just appeared like a vision, I was starstruck. I was just like, oh my God, this right here is the epitome of beauty. Angelina Jolie, who? I don't know her. All I know is Ashley, and she's a rising star. So let's just take a
You just
moment.
know that's going to trigger some people.
Well, I will fight all of them. You have something to say, you come and see me. Catch me outside. How about that? Huh? Catch me outside. How about that? Anyway, let's give a round
That's
of
really
applause.
good too. What a rendition of you saying that. It actually sounded like she was in the building.
Yeah.
Can you say it again one more time?
Catch me outside. How about that?
There you go.
Catch me outside. How about that? Well, I just
Scared
said.
now.
Well,
I
just
wouldn't want to
said.
catch you outside. I wouldn't want
No,
to get
you
on your
don't. You
bad
don't want to
side.
catch me outside. Not when I'm defending the honor and beauty of my friends. So.
Thank you for your love, honestly. She showers me. You know what? I don't know why I thought of this the last time you complimented me. It's like when you step into a shower and you have the shower and then you feel so great afterwards. It's like
Yeah.
stepping into a shower that Nina created, and then you turn the knob and then all these compliments just rain down on you and you're like, oh, yeah, that is really nice. Yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like I've just
Yeah.
stepped into the Nina shower and I've come out and I'm like all replenished and refreshed, ready to take on the world. You know, just saying. But I feel that that could be some creative project in the future. Like putting
I
it on
don't
the
know
street,
how,
pop into the
but
Nina shower. Oh,
yeah,
anything can be done. If you make faces on TikTok, you can go viral for that. You can make
true.
a shower that is full of compliments and affirmations and all that, and let it rain down on us.
Yeah, I like that.
Yes,
Like it's raining men, but
that's what
instead
it
it's
feels
raining
like.
compliments.
Exactly.
I
I
like
just
that.
had this song pop into my head.
Oh,
I was like that on holiday too. My friend would say something, and then I would instantly think of a song and I'd start singing it.
nice. Nice. I think
Does
that's what it
anyone else
is.
do that?
I
What?
think that's what it is. I think you going on holiday and you coming back with this ethereal glow. We need more of that, Ashley. Whatever you've done, do more of it, honey, because it's working.
It's so funny that you say that. That I have a glow because I
Mm.
I feel internal misery right now. And
Oh,
yet on the outside I look like I've stepped off, I don't know, I've stepped off
yeah,
the glory train.
yeah.
Am I pregnito? I don't know. No, I'm not.
Oh. It's like the sun in the Teletubbies with the little baby face. It just lights up everything, and the baby's just giggling. That's what you are right now to this podcast. You're just glowing your light.
Maybe it was finally getting back to a strength training session today. I walked in and I said to myself, I haven't been here for 100 years. I'm ready to lift. I felt like my
Yeah.
muscles left me just from a
Mm,
whole week of not doing it.
yeah.
And now my muscles have come back. It's like when you step out of the shower and it's like a rejuvenation. All the
Yeah.
energy comes back and it's like you start glowing. Yeah.
You're just getting
Maybe I just
showered
had a lot of
today.
glow today. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. Multiple showers. That's beautiful.
Uh, and just for anybody out there who might be having negative thoughts right now, I just want to say there's positive love bombing and then there's true love bombing. And I do the positive one. I love my friends. That is a genuine feeling, and every time I see them or talk to them after not hearing from them in a while, I have to shower with confidence. It's my second nature. I can't hold back, especially when I see beautiful women. It's like I'm a man, like I just can't help myself. I'm so excited. I just can't, like I have to compliment.
I will always be eternally grateful for it.
Yeah.
Honestly, the moment you jump on, it's just like she'll look at you, and then you can see her face turning, and then you see her mouth open, and that's it. It comes out, all of it.
Yeah.
Wow, da, 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 da. And
I
you're
mean, it's
like
not a
sitting
lie.
back going, give me some more. Give me some more. Don't stop. Don't stop. Obviously, you've got to be modest. So you're like, yeah, thank you, thank you. But in your head, you're like, shower me some more. Shower me some more. Keep going.
Well,
Keep
yeah.
going.
Yeah.
My head will not fit my bed.
Yes. That's good. That's good. I mean, I'm not lying. And she is an ethereal beauty. You are, Ash. So thank you for gracing us with your presence and your glory and your radiance. And yes, that's
Thank
it.
you
That was the
for-
episode.
No. Oh, I can imagine just how many people would watch this 6-minute video and go,
Jesus. Yeah.
mm,
Jeez, get a room,
mm.
guys.
Okay, cover your cameras.
That's for the Patreon, honey.
Yes. Which you have to pay for.
Pay-per-view.
Exactly. It ain't going to be free to you. I don't know what you think this is. We're in a capitalistic society.
Exactly. We must profit off of everything.
Yes. Exactly. You're going to get a kiss for free.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Except Ashley, she gets all the kisses. Anyway, from me, not from you, because I will fight you outside. Anyway,
you've been barred. You've been blocked. Any man comes in. I don't know which movie it is, but like imagine a man coming in and Nina's like, she gets her hand, puts it on his face, and then pushes it away. You don't get to. It's mine.
No. I'm happy to share as long as you know who the number one is. You can explore.
What if I don't want to? Like, what if I don't want to share myself?
That's fine.
Then
I'll keep you. Exactly. Anyway,
got a ring on it.
Yeah. Hold up.
I think it's
and it's gold.
Oh, yours is gold. Mine is silver. Here, I'm going to show it to the camera. Look at this. Look at this, people.
Ooh, look at that. And she's stylish too. I mean, what doesn't she do?
This is the thumbnail.
Everybody.
People will be like, oh my God, she's engaged.
Yeah.
I am.
She's my wife. I am. Hello.
And it's such a nice ring. This is going to go on the trailer. I'm going to put this at the start of the trailer and everyone's going to be like, yeah, actually, what we came here today to talk about was our proposal story, and I flew to Australia, which is why Ashley's been on a trip. She's glowing, like we spent a nice time. Yeah, exactly. I am the type of person, just to say, that I would do things like get married and I wouldn't tell anyone, and they would find out last minute.
Nice.
Yes. Or there are certain people I wouldn't tell and they'd find out somewhere else. So this is the moment where you're all finding out now that this has been happening.
Yes.
So
yeah, I am part Australia now. Nar water.
Shrimp on the barbie.
Shrimp on the barbie.
Even though we don't put shrimp on the barbie. Dunk on the barbie.
Anyway,
Yui.
A Yui. We're gonna make a Yui now in this conversation, unfortunately, Fortunately, unfortunately. No, but
Good one. You need to use that from now on. When we need to keep the conversation rolling, she's gonna like, all right, let's just Yui it and get into the mode. Chaka Yui.
Chaka Yui. I like that. Truly, that's real Australian right there. No, the reason I was a little bit discombobulated, that's a word, when I came on today is because I usually am on time, but today I slept through 2 alarms, and which sucks because last night I was really excited for this episode. Luckily, Ashley is very gracious with me and very forgiving and kind and lovely and beautiful and perfect. So she has forgiven my lateness, my tardiness, and yes, I'm here. So if in case I look a little bit out of it for like a little bit of this conversation, just know I just woke up and I'm just like, what's going on? Going on out here. So yeah, anyway, but we shall be talking about something that actually did impact the way that I woke up this morning, and that is dreams. We have been wanting to have a conversation on dreams for a long time because literally, I don't know if you can relate, Ash, but I can absolutely hands down say that I have had so many crazy dreams in my life that I have memory of them and they come up in our discussions where Ash is like, do you remember that dream that you had like 2 years ago where the moon landed in your backyard and there were like sigils on it and like it was just like this whole happens all the time. So we wanted to share a little bit of that today. And Ashley has very interesting dreams as well. But yeah.
It just discombobulates me. And when you said dreams, you know that song Sweet Dreams? Sweet dreams of rhythm and dancing. Do you know that song?
No,
Do you know
I
it?
was like, sweet dreams of who am I
God.
to
You just
disagree?
went to
I'm
it.
old.
But the other song is also old. I think it's not old, but it was made in the 90s, I think.
Okay.
You have to listen. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you haven't heard that song.
You have to send it to me.
Now I'm going to have to pass it on to you. I'm going to have to remember that, actually. I'm going to have to. I don't want to forget.
Well, it'll be in this episode. How could you?
I would love to know. Obviously, we'd love to know the kind of dreams that you guys have because I feel like it's so collective that when it comes on TikTok, I automatically love hearing the stories that are shared because I feel like I'm not crazy as well. When other people share their dreams, I'm like, wow, that's the same level of cray. Our subconscious is really conscioning, which is not even aware, but the relation is there.
Yeah.
Sweet dreams of rhythm and dancing.
It sounds like a good song.
I can't forget to send. I forgot to send her the other song that I recommended. So I need to send this.
Oh,
Yep,
okay.
I don't remember what it was.
Too.
I forgot as well.
See, we're both just senile. It works. I did want to speak on this a little bit. Like, I do truly believe that there are different types of dreams for people out there who, obviously, I know people who haven't had dreams, who don't dream, which I think is very interesting. But I'm the type of person that dreams vividly majority of the time. But I've noticed that there is genres to it. Obviously, we know nightmares, we know night terrors. Those are different from nightmares. And then we have like a few other categories that I would like to explore before we get into our conversation for today. But like there are the types of dreams that are very much on subconscious, the things you absorb on the day to day, things you hear, maybe fears a little bit, things like that. Then there are more deeper dreams that I would say have a different feeling where you're either connected to maybe a person that's passed on, family premonitions, things like that, and they are real, they do happen, but they have a more oomph to it. I don't know how to describe it, but there is just a different energy to those types of dreams. You always know when you're in them, usually, I would say. You know when you're in
Yeah.
them, or there will be a point in time in the dream where you're made aware that you're in connection with something that is not just a dream. And then you have dreams that are outerworldly, where you go on adventures, and I don't know what they're tied to. I don't know if you can call it astral projection, because I know that's a topic that a lot of people are very interested in. And then you have nightmares, like I said, and then you have night terrors. And I think it would be very cool to hear what you guys experience. Because, yeah, dream world is very, very interesting, I think. What do
Hmm.
you think, Ash?
I think it is very interesting. And I think that we haven't fully grasped the explanation or understanding of as we know anyway that it
Yeah.
occurs during REM sleep. We know all that. But I think
Yeah.
we haven't fully discovered. I don't know if we ever will. I don't know. Because the brain is
Yeah.
so powerful. It's so
Mm.
powerful. The body in general to me is really powerful. And neuroscience, I'm sure, will keep expanding. So our experiences, well, essentially the experience I'm going to share in this episode are experiences that I've had. Okay.
Mhm.
They are experiences that I've had. They are experiences that Nina has had, just to make that very clear as well. And that's that. That's all I have to say on the matter.
Yeah. Would you like to start it off, or should I?
Oh no, you take the ball and you roll it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I have so many. Let me scroll through the catalog of my brain. Which one shall we pull forward and discuss? Now, I will say this. I would like to discuss a couple dreams. I'm not going to do them all in one. I want Ashley to share hers. Maybe some more serious, maybe some more funny, because I've definitely had a few funny ones. I had a very interesting one last night, just to kind of like overview real quick. I was in a zombie apocalypse, of course. There's always zombies in my dreams. I was in a zombie apocalypse, and the genetic DNA of zombies was found in dinosaurs. So, in the time, current present day that I was in, a friend of mine died, a person that I don't know in real life. Then I passed away, and then I went back in time like a movie. I We switched scenes, and now I'm I'm in the 1940s or 20s, and
Oh
we
my
just
God.
discovered that the zombie virus is found in dinosaur bones or something along those lines. They were found in dinosaur remains. So then I traveled yet again way, way back in time, and the end of the dream was essentially me running from dinosaurs that were trying to kill me. So a very very Jurassic Park
Mm.
centered
Conducting
dream.
social experiments as
Yeah,
well as astral traveling
yeah,
from one place to another.
yeah,
And that's really disturbing. I think it's zombies are terrifying. So I think that's disturbing that you found zombie DNA in
yeah.
dinosaurs. Yes, I can
It's some
see
kind of,
why.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Eh,
didn't mean to cut
know
you
what you're
off.
going to say? No, you did. You're fine. You're totally fine. What was it? What were you going to say?
Um, it was some kind of mutated genome that was found in the dinosaur bones that was somehow like released, or a human being at one point in time was like exposed to, either injected or exposed to. In the dream, we kind of had like a running narrative, the investigators in the 1940s that I was a part of. We had like the little caps and everything. It was really
You
retro. And
know, was this actually what happened to the dinosaurs and you're like cracking the code?
yeah, in my dream.
Oh my gosh. What if all
Uh,
this time it wasn't a meteor, it was this?
yeah, yeah.
That humans did exist and they wiped the dinosaurs out, which not surprised.
I wouldn't be either, honestly, with our trajectory.
With human history.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah,
our
some human
running
beings
theory
like doing
was
that.
to see if a human being was purposely exposed to this virus that then set off the end of the world later on in life, again, when it resurfaced. But it
Gosh.
was very weird
Is that a
because, like,
movie?
all the people that like died in the present tense part of the dream were alive again in the other decades, and it was just very weird seeing that. And there was, oh my god, I forgot Avatar was. Avatars were part of the prehistoric world. They were part of, they lived during the dinosaurs. And my God, Ashley, were they aggressive? They,
What are you doing on Earth? Go back to Pandora. It's better. Oh
they
my
killed
gosh.
one of my partners. They severely injured the man above the neck. And so it was horrific. Ashley, I was like, I need to leave this world. I need to leave
Uh,
this.
okay. So put it, if they are on Earth, right, and they were wild, I
Yeah.
feel like we can see why. They
Yeah.
somehow they're not at Pandora and they're on Earth. Earth is wild. So
Yeah.
I see why they turned wild like that.
They were petrified and very tall, very, very tall. Oh my God. I you think you would be afraid of a T-Rex? Mm-mm. You would be afraid of the avatars. That was a whole nother I was just like, what is the avatar doing here? But yeah,
Conscious telling you to contact the director of Avatar and get this as a movie that they get brought to Earth and then all this stuff happens.
like Transformers. They had Transformer dinosaurs. Let's make Avatar during the prehistoric age. Yes, James Cameron, call me up, honey.
Well, your dream sounds like it's giving you a movie for you. Start writing the script.
No, but one of the other dreams that was a little bit more serious in my life, that was just last night. But something that was really serious for a time were reoccurring dreams that I had when I was, I think they started around 11, 12. And just to kind of like preface this, because this is one type of dream I've had, like part of one genre that I've experienced over the last few years of my life. And in the dream, it always starts the same. I remember it like it was yesterday. And essentially, I wake up in my room when I was 11 or 12 years old. I was living in California. I had a bunk bed and I had gone home from school, and I had a nice like night and stuff. And then in the morning, I would wake up. I would leave my bed and I would notice that the room is or the house is very quiet. I'm not hearing anything. It's really weird. So I go down the bunk bed, I leave my room, I exit the hallway, I go right into or left into the living room, and nobody's there. And I'm like, Mom, where are you? Mom, Mom, and nobody's there. And then all of a sudden, I would feel this dread. And from my room comes the Grim Reaper, dressed like I don't know what the animation was called, but like there was a very particular type of Grim Reaper that it looked like that I saw on TV at the time when I was a kid. And it generally the very generic look of a Grim Reaper, the way that you would imagine with like the skull face and the hood and like the little thing that he carries. I don't know what it's called. And he starts chasing me around the house to the point where I'm running, I'm dodging, I'm weaving. And then I run into the very last second before he catches me, I run into my mom's room and I slam the door shut and I lock it. And he just like bangs against the door. Right. The first time I had that dream, I was very scared. I was young. I was like, what was that? That was creepy. I was like, whatever, bad dream. 4 years later, I have the same dream yet again. And at this point, I'm just like, why is this a reoccurring dream? What is happening? Why am I having this? And so I equate it to stress, but there was a part of me that was like, I feel like this is a warning. And I don't really know quite what to do with that because when the universe gives you warnings, you don't really get a heads up for what it warns you for. You're just kind of like getting like puzzle pieces and you're like, thanks. I don't know what's going on, but thanks for the warning, buddy.
Riddles.
So I later on, I don't remember the age, but a few years later, I had the very same dream yet again. And to the point where I'm like, okay, this definitely means something. I don't know what it means. It has nothing to do with stress. It has something deeper to do with either life or death or something that I'm like subconsciously or spiritually working through. And I think a few years ago, it kind of clicked. Um, because what I didn't tell you guys, or I don't know if I've shared it in past episodes or so, I've had near death experiences in life. The first one happened when I was very young, around 6 or 7. I went to a beach vacation with my parents in Greece. I almost drowned. I'm fine. I have no water phobia or anything. I wanted to get right back in after. But that almost happened. Then I'm just like casually telling you this. Don't worry. I'm not like this usually, guys. If you're new here, anyway. And then the other time, I can't remember what it was. I think I almost choked while I was in school or something, and I was nearly there. It didn't take much longer than that. I was not doing good, and nobody gave me the Heimlich. I think the whole school didn't know what to do. Luckily, I figured it out. I didn't die. Obviously, I'm alive. And then the third time, which is very interesting, because the third dream I had was, I think, the most intense, and that was when I was kind of like I felt the dream ended the same. It always worked out the same story, the same progression, everything. I shut the door, Grim Reaper stays out. I'm just about able to get away from him. But the third dream that I had felt the most intense out of them all. And it was interesting because I've shared prior that I've had health issues before. A few years ago, when I was 25, I went through some stuff from a side effect from a vaccine and had a TIA, a transient ischemic attack, which I almost died from due to negligence of a doctor in a hospital. It's a long story. We're going to talk about it another time, maybe. And it's interesting because now I look back and I'm like, obviously, I know people out there who listen to this. Well, you can just like piece it together. You don't know if they're connected, but it's never happened since. Hopefully, it'll stay that way. I hope that I don't have another dream like that. But I have a feeling that those dreams are somehow connected to the near death experiences I've had. And maybe the next two, because initially I've had the initial near death experience when I was very young, so before the dream occurred. But the other two, I think, were premonitions of some kind of warning, which I think is very interesting. And like I said, it's been 10 years at least. I haven't had another dream like that. And I would assume that that means that it's not going to happen anymore. I think the third time was the closest I've gotten to death, truly. But because I haven't had those dreams in 10 years, that means like for the next 10 years, I'm good to go, honey. Like my 30s are going to be great.
Oh,
So yeah, I'm going to pause here and I'm going to give you the ball. I'm going to pass it forward. I think I'm not speaking a human language anymore. Um,
I don't think you need to, my friend. Start speaking alien because it just
yeah.
makes more sense at this point. I think I said it to someone. I'm like, these days just don't make sense. So it feels like the reality of talking about our dreams and the insanity of some of them, well,
Mhm.
maybe it's normal. Maybe this whole
Yeah.
time that's the normal.
Yeah.
Some of them, actually. I'll take that back for a particular one, a particular year.
Yeah.
I mean, we're on the roll of talking about scary as well.
Mhm.
2022 or 2023. I don't know which year it was, but it was one of them. You might remember. I dreamt about continuously, and I mean continuously, throughout that whole year, I dreamt of Ghostface, aka Scream. And I can't tell you why. I don't know. I have no idea. I would like some answers as to why, but it was non-stop. It also
Mhm.
trickled into the next year a little bit, and there are still moments where he's popped up. but nothing compared to that year. That sent me. That absolutely sent me. And I'm not meaning, I mean, yeah, it was terrifying. And I think at the start, for a large portion of it, I thought this is not helping me sleep. This is taking away my sleep, and all this other stuff were being combined into it. But he just wouldn't piss off. He just wouldn't piss off. And most of the time, like, some brutal things happened in that year. And I think that's definitely linked to complex PTSD with flashbacks and remembrance of stuff. But he was there. So of course, it just had to add on top of that already. Just give the character, let's bring in a character like we're in a movie and someone's directing from behind the scenes. Bring in Ghostface. So he chased me a few times. I actually fought him. Do you remember what I
Yeah.
would tell you? I actually fought him a lot. So there's 365 days in a year. I dreamt continuously of him. So can you imagine how many times I fought Ghostface? Just really sit with that for a second. Truly, I fought with him and I didn't die. I got injured. And if you know what Ghostface uses, but the
Mhm.
interesting part about dreams is the fact that in some instances you can feel it,
Yeah.
which has been a reality. But every time he got to that certain position, I didn't feel it and I was able to boom, right back.
Wow.
Always fighting. Yeah. There was not a time I could remember that I was, taken. I don't think we can say, can we say murdered?
I think so.
I don't, yeah,
I don't
I
know.
do not believe, I don't know either. The M word, the K word. I don't remember a single moment during that year where that happened. I think it was mostly just fighting and then getting injured.
Mhm.
But oh my gosh, what an experience that was. Back then I
Yeah.
was like, I'm gonna really just give me some anesthesia and put me to sleep so I don't have to go through dreams. And I don't know if it works like that, but I was hoping. I don't know. I was gonna even throw a brick at myself. I don't know. It just was excessive. It was
Yeah.
excessive.
Yeah.
I really want to find out why that happened because I, like I said, I don't know. But to constantly, and no, before you even think it, I wasn't sitting around watching the movies. I was not doing that. This just happened from whatever reason or whim. It just was. I don't know. So being chased in dreams has been both of our experiences, turning into things. Nina goes on scientific expeditions. She also ditches people
Oh
in, where
yeah.
were we? Germany. She
No,
ditches
Italy.
people. She ditched
We were
people.
we were in a few different places actually. No, we were
Mm.
in Switzerland.
I ditched her for one of them. Yeah, we were in Switzerland. That's right. We were ditching each other in dreams as well. So the
Yeah.
Switzerland one, and then you have to tell them the Italy one, I believe it
Mhm.
was. I believe we're in
Yeah.
Italy. In the
Yeah.
Switzerland one, I'm going to keep some details out, but we were running down a hill
Yeah.
or something. We were in a shop, and
Yeah,
then a
we were trying to get away
celebrity.
from somebody. We were trying to get away from
Yes,
somebody.
yes. And a celebrity came. This is the celebrity we were trying to like keep steer of, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
This celebrity came in, and he came in and spoke to me, and this one here bolted. Out of there. Bye.
Yeah.
Good luck. May
Yeah.
the odds be ever in your favor. She ran. And I
I was
woke up
out
in
of
the
there.
morning. I messaged her and I was like, how dare you?
Yeah. Yeah.
You fucking ran. How could you do that to me? You're not a friend. And she's like, what? And then I told her the story. I told her what happened. And she was laughing.
Yeah. It was really
And then,
funny.
as karma, What happened in Italy?
In Italy, there was a series of dreams that I had that involved me traveling. And one of them always kind of was on the precipice of I tried to take pictures, but they wouldn't take. And I didn't know why. And in Italy, I think we were in Milan, and you and I and another person were there that you had known this person in the dream, but I didn't know this person in the dream or in real life. We don't know this individual. But in the dream, Ash and her were friends, and we were traveling together, and we were having really an amazing time. We were like looking around, being the complete tourist, obviously, because Italy is gorgeous, the architecture, all of that. And then we came upon this like I don't even remember what it was, but it was just some kind of like thing to see for tourists. And I was like, I'm going to go and take a picture real quick. And then I went over and I tried to take a picture. And again, it wouldn't take. And I would just be like trying. And then I turn around and then she and her just left me. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And then I try to find you both. And I tried to find you both, and I'm just like, where is there? And then I was like, why would she leave me? Does she not like me? Why would she leave me in like a foreign country all by myself? And then I woke up and I told her the story, and yeah, she was not very happy. She was like, I would never do that to you. How could you?
I think I
Yeah.
also might have mentioned the other dream, and I was like, maybe I left
Mm.
you because you left me.
Yeah, maybe. We did have
I would
another
never do that in real
dream.
life.
Well, I had another dream where I was going through like an attic door and it could transport you to different places around the world. So I think I just
Mm.
came back from like Paris or something. And I went through and then it was like in this really small crawl space. You had to like duck your head to get through. I don't know. I don't know
Alice in Wonderland
the
shit,
architecture of my dreams. Don't ask me. But you
where
and
they
I
make you go places, they make it hard.
Yeah. Anyway, I encountered you along the way. You came to me and I was like, "Ashley, you got to check that out. We can travel. We can travel through the attic door." You have to see. And she was like, "Really?" She's like, "Really?"
Be
And
my
she's like, "You have to
response.
come with me." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be right there." And then I went, I had to go get something um, for going back. I don't remember what it was. And then as I was like walking, she was going there. I was like, "Oh shit." Every time she goes to the door, it transports you to a different place. So we actually needed to go at the same time. And I'm like, damn, she's gonna say when I wake up and I tell her this dream, she's gonna be mad because I left her again to go someplace by herself.
You need? What did you possibly need to turn around?
I don't
And
know.
why couldn't I wait? Why couldn't I stand there
I
and
don't
wait and be
know. I don't
patient? I'm an
know.
Aries, but no excuse.
You were so excited, and I really wanted you to
I
see.
would
I think
be.
that was just a part of it. I don't know. My dreams are weird.
It's really interesting how many expeditions that you go on in your
Yeah.
dreams. Like the traveling is a thing with you. And
Yeah.
random people as well. She's had a lot of random people
Oh,
just there
yeah.
with us,
Robin
chilling.
Williams, Dwayne Johnson, Jack
Mm,
Black. We've had, the Grim Reaper, angels, zombies. It's like a whole variety of things. I think
Christian,
dinosaurs, Avatar, like
Coltrane.
it's aliens. Don't like when aliens come to my dreams. They need to like. There's a very big sign saying no aliens. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. Like they scare the ever living life out of me. Like it just doesn't work. But
That's
I
fair.
want to say something, Ash, which I think is actually very impressive because you said when you were having the dreams where Ghostface was coming after you and he attacked
Mm,
you, you didn't feel it when you got injured, which is funny
yeah.
because I actually wanted to make this a point in today's episode. You know how a lot of people tend to dream of like running away from people or running in slow motion, things like that, people coming after you, creatures, whatever. And there was a time in my life where there was very prevalent. And so I looked it up. I tried to decode the dream. Nothing was really resonating with me at the time, but I've continuously heard people say in my real life and online, stop running. Like, see what happens if you stop running from the people who are chasing you in the dream. Because usually, what it tends to be is that you're running away from something in your real life, and when you actually stop and confront it, you're able to defeat whatever it is that you're fearful of. And so I tried very hard for a very long time in my dream world after that to stop running from whenever I was being chased by anything. And in one particular dream, I don't know if you guys recall the show Nikita. It was a long time ago. I didn't watch it actually, which is funny, but I didn't watch it. But the actress in that show, the lead actress of that show, was in my dream. Don't know her name. Sorry. And I was running, and again, I was part of some kind of like undercover CIA investigation, FBI thing. As per usual, I was some kind of secret
Yeah.
agent, and I was running, and they were coming after me, and they were like, I can't say the word, boom, booming everywhere, and your face, Ash. And I was running, and there was this body of water that I ran up to, and everything is deserted. It's just like sand and like abandoned like shops and stuff that are breaking down, and there's trees. It's literally like something out of a horror movie. And I am in front of this water, and I'm about to jump in, and then I remember, and I'm like, stop running, turn around and confront her. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I turn around and I confront her, and she's coming at me with a boom boom in her hand. And we're arguing, and I'm trying to make sense of why she's here. I'm trying to make sense of what's going on. She's very angry. And I have this very strong sensation to run away, to get in the water, swim away. At this point, it's too late. Long story short, because I don't remember in detail what happened, but she, in fact, injures me with a device meant to harm, not with the boom boom in her hand, but with something sharp. Because I don't know if I can say that on a video, I have to be descriptive. And I felt that. I remember where she got me on my right side, right under my rib. And when when it went in, I remember like collapsing on the floor, and her looking down on me with like this evil look in her eye, and the pain. I'm telling you, the pain that I felt of getting gotten, and just like I felt it searing through my entire body, to the point where that was the very reason I woke up. So, two things: keep running from people who are chasing you in your dreams, and B, you can in fact pass away in your dreams, because I felt myself passing away. But the only reason I woke up in real life was because of the pain, the physical, actual, real pain of getting in a pokey in the side of my body. And I woke up, and it took an hour, a little bit over an hour, for that pain to go away. I was fine. There was no actual pokey going on in real life. But from the dream and the real feeling of it to the real presence of that pain when I was waking up, just let me know that the dreams I have are very, 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 very real in my body and the way that I experience it. So yeah, I kind of wanted to dispel the rumor that you should kind of stop and confront. I get the sentiment, but we are dealing with the subconscious here, and I do think there are certain things, at least from my experiences in my dream world, that you should probably be a little bit more careful of when addressing. It's kind of like, I think there has been some running theory online about how a lot of the time when you meet people or talk to people in your dreams, they can't give you like specific names or details, or like the time of, or the location and where you're at. And if you start pressing it, it starts to become strange. And I've had a dream like that I've shared with Ashley, and it was very, very creepy. But I'm not going to get into that today because I have other stories to share. But Ashley, you have a dream very recently, and I don't know if you feel willing to share this, but I I recall it, and I think it was very, very interesting and in depth and very telling. So why don't you share the
Mm,
story of the fly?
that's why. Da-da-da. Before I even tell that story, interesting enough, too, they say not to ask people who they are
Yeah.
in your dreams as well. And interesting enough, I want to say this. I had an experience like that recently too, for the first time. But instead of adhering to the golden rule not to ask who they are, what did my dream self do? She did exactly that. She asked. So it's just the fact that there were two people that were, I don't know what they were doing. They were doing some stuff. It looked like they were fixing something. And I was with them, and they
Mhm.
turned and said to me, "You know that we're not," and then they mentioned names, like random names. I don't even know these people who they're talking about. And what did I say? Oh, well, then who are you? And they both stopped. So they were on the side here, they stopped, they went, and they
She doesn't
stood
go
up.
here.
And as that happened, it was like I was pulled out of the dream. It actually felt like I was pulled out and I woke up. And I had the thought in my head of the remembrance of don't ask them who they are. So that was really interesting. The stuff that you can't explain, but I mean, there's no reason for my subconscious to play something like that out. So,
I have a
yes, but the
running theory on
fly
that,
dream.
but yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
please. Share
Yeah, go.
yours.
You have a
No,
running
no, no.
theory.
Mine is a
No,
whole
no,
story.
what's
I
your
want you
running
to share.
theory?
So, my running theory is that either they're going to be out there, and I don't really believe in it per se, but I think in one case, one side of it is that it's your brain starts to turn in on itself when you dream and you become aware of
Mm,
yourself dreaming. I think it's your brain's natural response to want to protect itself, that when it's kind of like inception. You know how in real life people are like, the
yeah.
vehicle is the body that you inhabit is the vehicle of the of the conscious. And so as you move through the world, it's actually the universe realizing and experiencing itself. It's kind of like that in the dream. When you are in your subconscious and you become aware in it, I think it's the brain becoming aware of itself, and therefore it tries to like shut it down and pulls you out of the dream before you do, which I think is interesting. Um,
Yeah.
but my other theory, obviously, is kind of a little bit like the Matrix, where like there is a possibility that you can tap into something in your dreams where you become aware, and maybe there's something going on in the background. I'm not saying that this is a simulation or anything of the like, because I don't necessarily believe in it in that way, in that kind of like conspiracy theory. But I do think it's very interesting, because I had a dream once where I can't remember the details of it, which is interesting because I did try very hard to hold on to it, but I knew with time, actually not just with time, but just I knew that my brain was going to do its best to erase this for whatever reason. But I found myself somehow in this dream in this room, and I woke up in this room, and it was like something out of like a science movie. Honestly, when you're like being interrogated or something in like a science lab, there's the window, there's the empty gray room, and there's these people that have all been lined up, and I'm standing in the middle of this line, and I'm looking around, and in my head I hear myself say, don't let them know that you're awake. And so I'm like, okay, I can't look around too much because everybody is kind of like in this trance state of just like staring down, like kind of like robots, but they're real people. And so there's this guy going around with this like clipboard, and he's checking stuff, and there's other people working in the room on like desks and stuff. There's cameras everywhere. And so I try to be very low key as he goes person to person and checks whatever he's checking. And eventually I get this feeling like I need to get out of here. But I have to do it undercover. Like I can't let them know, the people that are working in this room, or the cameras pick up on the fact that I am conscious right now in this stream. But I'm trying to get one of the people next to me like to kind of like snap in and to kind of like ask what the hell is going on, like I'm trying to like look over a little bit and be like, hello, am I the only one here? Long story short, because I don't remember everything, there was this very, very bad feeling that like got it to the point, like, dude, I have never felt such a horrific, like, doom feeling come over me when I think one of the cameras noticed and everybody started to get very hyper aware of the fact that I was awake. Um, Even though I did everything they told me to do and I like pretended to be asleep or whatever. And then there was this door and it was static. There was just this door frame and it just was static. It was like a phone screen, if you will, but there was static in it. And I was like, I have to go through it because I don't know, something was going on. And I went through the door, phone screen, whatever it was, and then I woke up. And it was just there was a lot more going on in this dream than what I'm recalling right now, but it was just a very ominous dream that kind of left me with a very unsettled vibe when I woke up of just like, are we living in a simulation? Was I in some kind of other reality there for a moment? It was very scary, very, 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 very George Orwell, like
Mm.
1984 vibe. It was just not great. Anyway, please share the fly story, Ashley.
Well, it's not compared to that, but from what I can remember, I was meant to get on a plane to go somewhere,
Mhm.
and I had like this what do you call it? Like a backpacker's backpack on my back and
Yeah,
stuff. I'm pretty sure I was a man as well.
yeah.
I don't know, can't confirm that. Anyway, I was talking to this lady and she said I need to get on a certain bus. And I turned around to see this bus and it started driving off. And the lady actually was running after it, telling it to stop. And that did not happen. It did not stop. So, anyway, we went forward and she went up to someone else. And I had this feeling like she wanted to help me to get to where I needed to go. And that was fine. She's talking to someone. And then, from what I can remember, all of a sudden, I hear, "Don't eat the line." And how do I explain this? It's like if you draw lines on paper and then you cut them out and then you scrunch
Mhm.
it all together, right? All of a sudden, that pops up in front of me. Don't eat the line. And then all of a sudden, I start turning into a demonic fly, like my face. And it's like my hands start to go like this, and my face like does like whole distortion, and I turned into a demonic fly. But without just the head part, not the body. And I woke up and I was like, wait, what, what are you trying to say? And I told Nina, and she
Yeah,
found that so funny, and so did I. I
yeah.
was like, I remember, like in a movie when you see someone transform, it was
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm.
Because I missed the bus. Demonic fly. I don't understand. So yeah, that was that. It's very
She was
intriguing, the
very
random shit.
You were
Yeah.
very scared. I remember that. You were very unsettled when you woke up from it, but after some time you were able to laugh about it. And then when I heard it
Happens a
in
lot.
in the voice message, I was
Happens
like,
a lot.
We need to call up Jeff Goldblum right now, and be like, "Hey, dude, we have another installment of The Fly. We can add the 'Don't eat the limes' part of it. It'll be very creepy." Like, I can totally feel the vibe of that, of your dream.
Maybe
Like,
it
it's
was that.
scary. It's scary.
Maybe it was like a rendition of another movie. I don't know. It was a lot of movies, obviously, when you awaken, your body is in a state of fight and flight from it.
Yeah.
Because, when it rattles you that much, that's really what happens. It's been happening
Yeah.
for a long time. And I don't blame it. I mean, who would find peace, joy, and groundedness dreaming about being injured in a certain way or chased or in Nina's case, dinosaur zombies, discovering the fact that humans have done it. Like, it's just a lot to go through when life is already a representation of a hellhole, and then you go to sleep and the hellhole, you get put in another version of it.
Yeah.
And I've said this a lot, that it's I know that a lot of it too comes from your subconscious, and when you're in certain
Mhm.
states of mind, it plays out, and that experience has been a reality in many ways. But also, it's not always the case. I have had dreams of premonitions before that have happened, right? And you just can't explain that shit no matter how much people want to try. This was an individual experience. It was mine and it happened. And it was around people. I would dream of certain people continuously. And a few months after, they would come in, they
Mhm.
would come back. So it felt like a preparation.
Yeah.
And I told Nina about this when it first started happening a few years ago. And then that person come in, I was like, this is sus, but I'm going to let it go. Maybe it was just a whatever. But then the second time, I thought, I'm a gifted soul. I must be. Third time, I'm at this point where it's like, all right, I'm glad that you're pre-warning me so I can be ready for when this
Yeah.
person comes in. But continuously, you have a looping of dreams, even if they're different scenarios. And then a few months after, lo and behold, and that's been really interesting.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
It's
No, I wasn't stalking them. I was not stalking them. I didn't look up their profiles. I didn't think of them. When it starts on a random note and then
Mhm.
progresses from there. Because I know we like to make, we like to think of everything in the logical sense.
Yeah.
And I'm not putting that down, but I don't think everything has an answer. And I don't think everything will have an answer.
Yeah.
And I do believe that we are a lot more connected than what we believe. And there's been a lot of funky stuff that has happened that I won't get into, especially when I first started getting into spirituality. My gosh, I sat there going, am I Delulu? Or I couldn't understand it. I really couldn't. So I asked questions and did my own research and so on and so forth. So interesting experiences.
I can say without a shadow of a doubt that there are things that I have dreamt that are real, that have happened.
Mm,
I don't want to get too into detail of it, but I've had people who I've known who have passed away while I was sleeping visit me in my dream and tell me goodbye. And then I would wake up and I would see what happened. I
yeah.
would hear about what happened. And in one particular incident that definitely unnerved me. And to this day, like I'm grateful for the gift. I'm grateful to have known, but it is very scary to think of what could have happened had I not said anything, because I do think, like the whole butterfly effect thing, you like the wings of a butterfly and the waves, and all of that. I don't know the analogy in specific, but I do believe there's cause and reaction to taking certain actions, saying certain things versus not doing so. And there was one particular dream I had when I was 18. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in the dream. I was getting the news that my mother got into a horrific car accident. She was driving down the road. She was going really fast on a highway. This was in Germany, and there are very limited speed limits on the highway, but she was going really fast and her brakes didn't work. Like she was trying to brake, they were gone, completely gone. And she crashed and she passed away. And in the dream, I saw it happening. There was the me in the dream that heard the news, and then there was me as the observer who saw it all happening. And when I tell you in the dream, when I heard the news, when family friends came to me and told me what happened, I broke down sobbing. And it was horrific. It was a very, very, very long dream. I remember that from the feeling of it. And I woke up because I was crying. And when I woke up, I sat up in bed and it took me like a couple minutes um, because I had to just kind of like readjust to the reality that that didn't happen. It's not real. And, everything is okay. And so I got really, really like worried for a second there though, because I sat in bed and I was like, was this because it was so intense and there was the rational side of me that was like, "Oh no, it's just a dream, relax, a nightmare." But I'm like, "I don't have nightmares like that. I've not had nightmares like that." And I was trying to decipher, should I say something to my mom? Is she even here right now? Like I'm trying to figure out what to do responsibly. If it's just me overreacting because I had a very emotional dream. I was crying. I woke up sobbing. It really impacted me. But at the same time, I'm like, it's just a dream. Don't worry about it. Just wake up, get started with your day. You're going to forget all about it. But in the back of my head, I was like, but what if it's a warning? Like, what if I need to say something? Funny enough, while I was going through this in my brain, my mom actually walked into my room at the time and she was like, "Hey, I'm going to go to the store real quick. I have to run some errands. I'll be right back." And then in my head, I was like, say something, don't say something, say something, don't say something. And so I did just a little bit. And I was like, "Hey, mom, is everything okay with the car?" And she like pauses and she looks at me and she's like, "Yeah, why?" I had a weird dream. And I'm like skimming over it a little bit as I'm explaining it to her. I just had like a dream you got into an accident and just please I had it was something to do with the brakes. If you could maybe check that, I don't know, within the next few days or so, because the dream was really bad and I just want to make sure that you're safe in the car. Um, and she looks at me, she's like, okay. My mom, fortunately, takes my dreams seriously when I have them. On the She sometimes looks at me like I'm a little bit crazy, but I think they do settle in subconsciously. And then I was like, okay, fine, I'll check it. Anyway, she's like, I'll drive safe. No worries. You're overreacting. Everything is fine. I was like, okay, great. Thanks, mom. And so she leaves and she comes back, and the entire time while she's gone, because it was my day off, I wasn't working that day. I was in the house. I was anxious. I was like, "Is she okay? Should I text her?" I'm like, "No, you need to relax. You need to relax. She'll be fine. She'll come back." I said something. Hopefully, she heeded my warning. I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure it's just a dream. Has nothing to do with the reality that we're living in. Everything's gonna be fine. And then eventually, I think like after an hour or so, I hear the door, and I'm like, "Oh, thank God, she's here." And she comes in and she's like, "You would not believe what just happened." She's angry. And I'm just like taken aback because I'm like a little bit nervous. I'm like, what happened? And then she's coming through the door. She puts down the groceries and she's like, "I was driving out of the parking lot and this guy behind me, he ran into my car. And he didn't brake and I didn't. I saw it too late. By the time I broke, he ran into my car. The car is fine. It wasn't a hard hit. I'm fine." And but it pisses me off because he refused to take accountability. Then we called the police and they said, we're both at fault, blah, 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 blah. And I'm standing there and I'm like, she just had a car accident after I had a dream about her having a car accident and the brakes were part of the dream. That was like the main thing. And obviously in the dream, it was a lot more horrific, but it literally happened an hour or two right after I dreamt it. And I was like, I feel deep into my core that if I hadn't said anything, it probably would have been a worse accident. I just have this feeling, and maybe it's just delusion, I don't know, but I'm really glad I said something. And I told myself as of that day, if I ever have a dream like that with anybody that I know, or even just in general, I either if I don't know this person, I'm going to send them good energy, or if I do know this person, I'm going to let them know so they can get everything kind of like sorted and checked. But I've had a lot of moments like that where if I'm really connected to a person, if I really love them, I can tap into their either day or emotional space to the point where I'm aware if something bad is going to happen. And it is something that in that particular moment with that particular incident really unnerved me because I was just like, I don't know if I like being able to do this stuff. Like, great, thanks for the heads up, universe. But like, I'd rather just not have a dream about my mother dying in a horrific car accident. Thank you. Thank ya. But yeah,
Mm.
that was one of those moments as well that I've had. My God, are you beautiful? Just had to ease the tension here real quick.
No, there's no tension, my friend. It's an experience that you had,
Yeah.
and I would have done the same thing. I probably would have said something, even if it's nothing. I would
Yeah.
rather have said something than not. Great,
Yeah.
it's nothing. Perfect. Whatever. It reminds me of the ones like it's on alignment with actually when you were telling your story about your mom, what popped into my head as well was your grandfather, but that wasn't particularly a dream. That was just him
Mhm.
popping to say hi.
Mhm.
I think I've told many people this story because it was just hilarious, and I feel like I'm gonna share it for this. It was
Yeah.
like this wasn't really a dream. This was not a dream. I woke up, I was awakened at probably 3, 4 a.m. I was still half asleep, but I was also conscious. Like I could see my room, right? Next minute, I hear, hello, I'm Nita's grandfather. And then that's it. That's it. And I go back to sleep. Like, all good. I woke up the next day. I messaged Nina and I was like, Nina, I think your grandfather came and said hello at like 3 or 4 in the morning. And then what did you say?
I at first thought it was funny, and Ashley was like, I don't know if maybe this is like a message or something, if it's connected to that, but I just wanted to let you know. And I was like, that's so weird. I was like, I would have never expected my grandpa to come through because, like, in reality, like in my real like experience of my grandfather, he passed away when I was very, very young. I did get to know him when I was a baby, but I never was able to develop like a very deep core relationship with him. So I was just like, my grandpa came by. Like that is such a weird thing. And then I looked while I was having this conversation with Ashley. I looked at my phone, and it was my grandfather's Memorial Day, and I was just like, whoa, okay. Okay, I see. I see. He just popped in real quick, was like, hey, I'm still around.
Just imagine, is it like Casper the Friendly Ghost? They just stick their head through the veil. Hello, big summer blowout, and then they're out. They're gone. And they can't, there's no time in the spirit world. So they're just kind of like, even if you're sleeping, they pop in, they see you fast asleep. Haha, I'm going to wake you up anyway. It's just fabulous. It
Yeah.
was really cute though, because it was like, hello, I'm Nina's grandfather. That's it. That's all that needed to be said. Was just the acknowledgement.
You know what I
It
really
was a
love
really
about that?
mm,
He doesn't speak English, but in the spirit world, obviously, energy, language, all of that, it doesn't really matter. But like the fact that he came through and like English was the language that was spoken is brilliant to me. I was just like, this is how you know everything is connected.
grandmother as well has been felt so many times, and
Mm,
she is a ball of golden warm energy, like a blanket, like a really warm, and I say this to Nina, like a warm blanket with the fire on. And if you just imagine like gold light around the place, she illuminates that kind of energy. It's so warming. The last time I felt her energy, I could have, it was like ASMR. It's like when your nervous system finally settles down
yeah,
and you want to go to sleep because of how calm you are. Just what a gift, honestly.
yeah,
I don't even know her, but she feels light, like light.
yeah. My grandmother was like a very special person. Like truly, I wish everybody that I know or can meet in the future, I could introduce her to them. Like truly, and then Ashley's just like, I'm just she's around. No worries. I met her.
Is around.
Oh, I love that
And look,
though.
I'm not afraid to say the fact that I've had past family come into my dreams, and it's always, and the interesting thing is the fact that it's always at a particular house, the same
Mm,
house that I meet them in, and sometimes there's no words exchanged, and some family members, I didn't exactly have a connection with them, but it doesn't matter when they've passed on. That doesn't matter. So it was just a lot of lovely experiences and a lot of funny ones as well. There was one time where it was here, it was in the dog's bed, and my pop, his brother, two funny comedians, and my nan, we were in, for some reason, in the dogs area because all my pop and his brother loved my dogs, especially my pop loved my dogs. So I see the connection there. And we were just having a full of humor conversation and laughing. And it was very joyous because I did not get to say goodbye to my uncle. Well, technically he's my great uncle, but I've just said uncle. I did not get to say goodbye to that man, and I love that man. He
mhm,
was such a light a comedian. He was at my 21st, and oh my gosh, the stuff he was coming out with, he was such a joy to be around.
mm,
Truly, I miss that man. It absolutely devastated me that I couldn't be there for his funeral because he passed, was it after COVID or something? Maybe. And I think only my pop and my father and his brother could go.
mm,
Um, but yeah, it's really soothing to see them in that world. Like when my pop passed and I was amongst so much grief, which I still am, he just pops in like, doing great, doing fine over here, just casually showing me that. I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, I'm all good. Like the last thing, just for one particular one, at the moment, obviously, the house that they lived in is on the market, and in the dream, the house was cleared out, completely cleared out. There was one chair that had his old work clothes that he used to work in, had holes in them, stunk. They had paint everywhere. Like that was his work clothes for a long time, right? They were on this chair and he was standing in the main lounge room, looking around, smiling at, you know, this point that it had gotten to of like, I'm okay, this is fine. I'm not angry with this. This is good. He walked out and I was out. I walked out and I got onto this wagon, a random wagon in the backyard. And I'm sitting there and he walks past and he comes to me. And I can't fully remember the entire conversation of what he said, but it was in alignment with, I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm good. And I knew it because I could see it in his face. He was happy.
Yeah.
He was happy. And I've not obviously seen that in waking reality. So, these dreams of seeing the fact that he feels, and it generally feels like he is at peace. And I've said to people, I don't give 2 ounces of makaraka, what anyone thinks, whether it's subconscious. I don't give 2 shits. I don't believe it for a second. I believe that we are connected, and I believe that my family comes in and says hi. I don't even think about them sometimes, and they just pop in, hey, or they'll stand there and watch me as I'm living my life. So it's kind of like they're standing there and I'm doing things, and I know that they're there. So I get experiences like that, and it's lovely.
Yeah.
It's really lovely to know that even the ones that you weren't exactly close to, there is a lot of support there, and there's a lot of being seen. And yeah, it makes me really joyful to see my nan and pop together. Just to say this last one, we were at like I said before, the place that I mostly, like, I call it the ancestral home. That's where we meet. It's like planning a coffee day. Yeah, I don't plan it. They must plan it. But I was in the home. My nan and pop were standing together, and I went up to them. And this was, I think, 2 months after my pop had passed. And I think I said to my nan, I think I said something to my nan, and she looked up at my pop, and then she went, oh, yeah. It was something like that's what they were like in waking life. She was like, yeah, I'm glad he's here. It was something on the lines of that, of like, yeah, joyous that he is here. And it was really fascinating. Because I knew that would be her response anyway. I could just imagine, like, he comes in and she's like, oh, for G's sake. Oh, here we go.
I love that though. I think that's really sweet. I remember before my grandmother passed, she always said that when she goes, she is very excited to meet my grandpa again. And I think that is such a sweet sentiment to, you know, we hear a lot of stories about people in nursing homes and things like that who see their loved ones or their partner or their children, whatever it may be, pick them up from the other side. And I think that that is such a beautiful journey to take. And so it's a beautiful thing for you to have dreamt of them together and him saying that he's okay and visiting you and any ancestor really. I think it is a beautiful thing to witness and be in the presence of when you do get to see the people that you miss in day-to-day life. Yeah.
It's not based on your schedule.
No, it's not.
There's no
Certainly not.
scheduling there. There's no journal or diary. Doesn't matter if you have to be up early in the morning or if you don't particularly want to feel the grief. You don't get a choice. There it is.
No. Yeah,
But it is really lovely.
it is.
4 a.m. visits.
You see, that's the thing. I was like, if it could maybe happen at like 12 or 1-ish, like early in the sleep cycle. Yeah.
I've said it so many times. Apparently, the veil is thinnest around that time. And I'm like, well, who made that damn rule? Who created it to be like that?
Yeah.
Honestly. But I mean, I guess I see it in the way too that in the human experience that you're having, when you're in dream world, you detach from that. I mean, your body is resting. And then there's the part of you that can connect to that side that is having the experience. That's what I also see it at too. So I do understand that sleep it's vulnerable. You are out, you're meant to be out at least. Your body is meant to be replenishing. And our soul's like, well, hey, I'll take a journey. And who wants to connect with me? And then off we go. Who
Yeah.
does Ghostface want to come in again and we'll have a soiree? Or someone else wants to chase me? Oh my gosh. I have to say this actually. This is going to be my last thing that I want to say. I got really good at dealing with being chased. It has happened so
Mhm.
many times. So many times. I don't think I could explain the amount of times I've dreamt of it. And I got so damn good at it. And I told Nina about this. The last time I remember getting chased, it was at my house where I live. And it was a little terrifying because, of course, the whole smile thing has to come into it. And I know that's subconscious because that terrifies me. So obviously they had to add that in there. Like if you've watched the movie Inside Out, where they're like planning out the scenes of the show, that's what I feel like it's like, where they're like, she hates smile. We'll put that in. Anyway, this has happened a few times. This isn't the first time, kind of like what Nina was talking about. It might change character or something, but the back door, I had this feeling like everything needed to be locked. And see, I can sense things before they happen in some ways as well. And that is something that is in reality. And that my dreams really represent that. So I started locking everything. And then all of a sudden, this dude appears at the back door and he's standing there just smiling at me with that smile and watching me. And I thought, here we go. And lo and behold, when you think you've locked the door, somehow, bibbity bobbity boo, the door unlocks and he comes in. Welcome, you fucking. Come on in. Would you like some dinner? Maybe you might wipe that smile off your face. Anyway, he comes in and I'm prepping. I remember prepping. I was like, here we go. Straight in the nuts. I prepped. Anyway, he starts following me and I start going around the table. And I'm watching him and I've got my eyes on him. I'm not letting go. And then obviously we fought and I kicked his ass. And it's interesting because even though I was afraid in some sense with the smile, it's like I had a lot more empowerment to kick his fucking ass and throw it out the door. And I had not had this. It's fascinating when I have recorded my dreams to go from constantly having dreams where I've been attacked and assaulted and chased, and something's always happened like that has left me hurt and harmed, and
Yeah.
obviously waking up traumatized by it, to go from that to looking these things in the face and going, "Oh, round two." I threw his ass back out the door, closed it and locked it. And I woke up
Nice.
and I thought, I sent you back to where you belong.
I like that.
So
You're a
I felt
badass
pretty
in the
damn
dream
boss.
world too.
Yep. And I've kicked Ghostface's ass too. That's why those dreams
Mhm.
stopped, because I actually faced him. I started to face him a lot more instead of running.
Mhm.
Like, you can't make this shit up, man. To go from the timeline of running, then to
Mm.
starting to fight, to get to
Yeah.
the point where when you know it's coming, you're like, all right, crack the knuckles, crack the neck. I'm gonna rip you a new one. And he was tall, mind you, as well, but I got it, don't worry.
You did that. I love that you just like
I did.
kicked his butt, threw him out,
Yeah.
locked the door, and then presumably went ahead with whatever you were planning for the rest of that evening. And then you woke up and you're like, yeah, that's just
My
me.
cup of tea with my pink tea up, and thought, sipping my green tea. Oh, what a lovely day. I kicked some
Yeah.
ass.
Yeah. I like it.
Absolutely. I
I was
don't
proud
remember
of
what I
you.
did afterwards. I think I woke up at that point,
Yeah.
after I kicked him out. I locked the door and then I woke up and was like, "I'm a classic woman."
Yes.
Da, da, da. I don't know if you know that song, if you remember it, back in like the early 2000s or 2010, I think it was. Yeah. I'll have to get. Wait. Let me get the song name so it doesn't look like I'm cray cray. I'm a classic man. Let's bring back nostalgia. Um. Oh yeah, and it's featuring Kendrick Lamar. Let me show
Oh,
you. Let
okay.
me show you all. Is this the song actually?
Ah,
This song.
nice. Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, we can see it.
You guys, if you know, you know, and I'm sure many of you remember this song. This song was, when did this song come out? I don't know, but I listen to this song a lot, and I'm going to add it to my playlist. Anyway, yeah. So we're bosses. I'm full
Yeah.
fire, and don't mess with me in my dreams. I might have
Yes.
complex PTSD, but if I need to come out swinging, I will. I will
Yes,
fight.
absolutely.
This is my fight song.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, with Kendrick Lamar in it as well. Yeah. I like it.
It's prepped
Uh,
me for daily life. Oh my gosh, what if all of that was trying to like train me like military for real
yeah,
life?
maybe. Maybe. I can see it.
Did I sign some contract though? Like, did I consent?
We don't need to worry about that. The universe is doesn't work on paperwork. Oh.
Hmm. Anyway,
Yeah. There is one more dream that I would like to discuss with all of you that I've had that I think has probably been one of the most monumental ones that I've had. And I do remember talking to you about it. And the reason I wanted to discuss this is because to this day, well, it's not the most monumental, but definitely second in line. Um, and listen, had conversations before about past life and things like that. And wherever you fall on the Richter scale of believing or not believing or being skeptical, whatever, I do think that it's very interesting to have had the dream that I have had. Because in the dream, and this was the second time I've had this dream as well. So another reoccurring one, but this one is definitely on the rarer side. I found myself, there was a lot of things going on in this dream, but in this particular moment where I'm still, like recollecting everything, I was in Germany. I was in my hometown, and I remember looking up at the sky and I could see Earth, like literally like the shadow of like the side of it. You know the way you see the moon sometimes just from the side, just the Earth hanging. You could look up and there would be the Earth. It would be so close to the planet in which I'm standing on. And it was interesting because it was such a surreal, particular feeling that to this day I've never felt ever, um, in another dream ever again or in waking life. But I remember looking up and I remember recalling that I've been here before because I've seen this before. And it was so surreal to see planet Earth hanging above me in the sky and everybody else. There would be the city, the buildings, everything, and there would be planet Earth. And so I'm looking up and I'm trying to decode, am I on a different planet or is this some kind of parallel universe stuff? And that's more so the line of what I felt like this was. This was like a parallel universe situation that I was observing Earth from like an outside perspective, but I was still on it in some way, just in a different way, a different path. I can't explain it. I don't know. It's too big for me, too big for my brain to compute. Anyway, I in this dream walked down the street and I saw a person that I used to know, and I was like, ugh, I don't want to see this person ever again. Gross. So I kept walking. I was like, why are they there? And I kept
out
walking.
of my dream.
And I entered this building. And I'm not sure if it was some kind of, it had some kind of reference to where my grandmother was living. I think that was kind of the structure of the home, kind of tracing back to the actual house my grandmother lived in, apartment building, whatever. And so I remember being in the stairway, and I wouldn't say that this is like an 1940s, 1920s. I can't tell you the timeline of this place, but it looked relatively outdated. And so I stood there and I saw this family like walking down the staircase, and I was getting out of the way and I was looking, and my heart was just so strongly attached to one of the children there. And I couldn't understand why. And I was just like, trying to make sense of it. And I was like, why am I feeling so connected to this particular child? Do I know these people? Do I like, and I'm trying to decode it, is like, do I know them? Like, have I run into them? Is there some kind of connection to these people? Are they relatives? Like, what's going on? Long story short, the child, very small, a toddler age, definitely under the age of 6, started running off, and the family didn't notice it of some kind. I don't know why. The child ran off, and there was like this alleyway here, and there was a car coming down, and the child was so small, and I knew what was about to happen. And so I remember interfering in that moment and like saving that kid from running into the car, and like turning the kid back around and leading him back to the family. And at that point, because this dream was so long, I remember just kind of needing to go away. Like, I need to remove myself from the situation for whatever reason. I couldn't be seen. I couldn't like approach these people. I knew that much. Even though I walked past them, I don't think they saw me. I don't know if I was a ghost. I can't, I don't understand. Dream architecture is very strange. So I remember saving the child and like bringing him back to his family, what I presume to be his family. And then later on in the dream, come to find out that the child had been adopted, and the person that I saw in the dream that was there at the time that I was like ill, um, this person and I had a child, and this was our child that I had saved. And it was such a weird dream because in the dream itself, I was like, that doesn't make sense. Like, what's going on here? Like, I didn't have children. What are you talking about? And I'm like, and how would that work? Because this feels like it's literally the same time that I've, like, when I was very young, like when I recollect late 90s, early 2000s Germany, this is kind of the era of what it felt like. It was like, there's no way that this can be my child. um and I didn't have a child with this person, I know that for sure. And so I'm like, but this is what is being like kind of downloaded or like told to me through this dream, and I'm just like, I don't, I refuse. This is not happening. There's no way. It doesn't make sense, trying to understand it with logic. Some more things happen in the dream that I'm not going to talk about, but um there was a very particular moment within it where I was confronted with the fact that this, in fact, was my child, that something happened to me in this world, in this reality, that I had passed away unexpectedly from something, from an accident, and this child had been adopted to this family that raised him. I don't know why the father wasn't present. I have no idea. But that was kind of through everything else that happened after I saved the child. That was the overarching reality or story that I had been present to witness. And so I remember feeling this very intense, deep feeling throughout the entirety of the dream, ever since I saw that child. And then when I woke up from it, it didn't leave me. Like, there was this very just, I can't explain this feeling at all. But I remember it just staying with me for, I think, like over a week, to the point where I was like walking around and I was like really affected by it. to the point where it's like, oh no, it's just dream. It's not real. But it came to the point where the feelings were so strong that I was feeling that I had to sit down and talk to my mother about it. It was like, hey, so I had this weird dream, this and this happened, and I saved this child and I saw this child. And it was such a strong feeling that I have, I don't know, like I didn't want to say that I think it's from like another life of mine that maybe I'm no longer a part of, but that's what I was feeling in the dream. And I didn't say it to my mother. She actually said it herself. She just kind of like looked at me and she really absorbed what I was telling her. And she was like, well, maybe it was real. Maybe what you dreamt was real to a certain capacity. Maybe that was another timeline or like a past life or something. And I will never forget that for the rest of my life. There's other dreams I've had with children, with my children in the future. Like I've given birth to kids. But that particular feeling it was so sad because I remember just thinking, obviously in real life, I would do my utmost best if I had a child to make sure that they have a mother. But in the dream, to know that my child would grow up not having me around, I was glad I could save him. But to know that I wasn't going to be around just filled me with so much sorrow and so much just, I just maternal instinct is the best way that I can explain it. And it is crazy to me after having all of the dreams that I've had, even connected to kids, that you can feel such strong feelings to people, places, and things that aren't present in your everyday reality, but are real in that space to you. To the point where you wake up and you still carry those feelings with you and the memories of those dreams as if they were actual things that happened in your everyday present, awake life. That you can carry that with you so clearly. It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the final story for today, children.
There's no more to share for now. The deepness,
Yeah.
the intrusive, the running, the screaming, the crying, the movie set of it all. We have closed the theatre. Thank you for watching and listening. And we actually, if any of you have stories to share, we would love to hear them, obviously.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you don't, that's fine. We will survive. But if you like to share, please do. We're not the only ones that have things that we just can't explain. So we'd love to hear them.
Yeah. Until next time, guys, take care. We love you.
Thank you for watching.
Dream well. And we'll see you next time.
Fight the people that chase you.
Yes.
Bye.